Good morning. Oh, this is really odd. Um, doing a video, it's an audio really. I just woke up, I just began to drink my coffee. So I'm kind of half asleep, and I'm not alone, and I have the TV on in the background. So anyway, I trying to give some unsolicited advice, and I mean this to be helpful, but it's telling a story about myself that I don't know, maybe it can help someone else. I'm not really scripted. I don't even really know how I want to tell this story. It is very personal, though. So anyway, I was married, not very young, but somewhat young. Marriage ended, blah, blah, blah. And my intimate life, for the most part, was in the context of, serious relationships, long term. And let's just say that I was blessed my whole life with being healthy when it came to, oh God, it's embarrassing. Okay, well, anyway, as I tell the story, I guess it'll be clear. So anyway, I met somebody. One of my relationships was I met someone, I don't know if I was in my late 30s or about 40 years old. And it was in real life. They didn't live that far away from me. And I think we were both at a vulnerable point in our life. And, well, no other way of saying it. In my lifetime, you've seen all kinds of movies rated G through X, whatever it was, and you see depictions of romantic and or sexual relationships, people, you know. So anyway, when I had a relationship with this person, it was more intense than I had ever seen. I mean, yeah, a movie is acting, but nonetheless, it was probably the most intense relationship of my life. And very intense. It was emotional. It was erotic. It was everything. I mean, it was so far. It was off the hook. It was so deeply off the hook that it was scary. I mean, it was like, you want to talk about a drug? I don't know what was going on, but I mean, it was very, very intense. Very, very. And I believe it was as intense for him as it was for me. And don't know why, if it was, some kind of emotional connection and physical connection. But the thing is it fizzled out pretty fast. I think he backed away more out of fear. I don't really know. But afterwards, I remember being on the floor just crying, like when I knew it was over for sure. And I probably was in varying stages of grief for 3 years. Yeah, I went through the motions, went out, dated a little bit, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, I was just out of my mind. And, life marched on. I was raising children still at the time, although at that point they were a bit older, working, doing different things, and just living life. So the whole thing sort of faded into nothing. And without trying, years later, I found out, kind of like, well, what happened to him and where he was in life. And thank God it wasn't in any kind of spot where it could intersect with my life. And the funny thing is at that point, any feelings that I had for him, which was so intense at the time, I could care less. I was indifferent. Um, but I remember that relationship did happen. And I thought, well, um, not everything works out the way we think it should or want it to, but it does for a reason. And I felt that, maybe he toyed with me, or maybe I toyed with myself, and that he got his karma and I got mine, because it all washes out in the karmic laundromat. I'm older now, so I really do see that that's true. But, I thought to myself, let's say, he hadn't sort of faded away, and we would have kept going forward with it and possibly lived together or gotten married or just really, really, progressed. What would have happened? And then I thought about it and said it probably would have went to hell in a handbasket, because anything that's that intense and that off the hook is going to burn itself out. And it's easy, for me to say this now. At the time, I didn't want to hear it because, but I wish that my older self could go back in time and tell my younger self, because basically I wasted 3 years of my life when I could have made myself available to someone else and had something much more fulfilling and satisfying. But instead, I chose to, dwell on the what ifs. And, I mean, I'm good now. I'm older, and, funny, like if you have a really healthy physical drive and you enjoy intimate relations, it's a double-edged sword. It's a blessing and a curse, because the blessing is that you do enjoy it, and the curse is that you do enjoy it, and sometimes it leads you into making poor decisions or getting yourself into a addictive relationship, and that can spill over into other areas of your life. So now that I'm older, I look back and say, well, I had some times in my life, not just with him, but with other, men, that I really felt physically fulfilled. I felt very feminine. I felt very loved, even if it was more in a physical way than an emotional or spiritual way. But I did have that, and that was a nice gift, from God. And I guess I don't regret it, but at the time, I felt like it was a curse and a blessing. The thing is if I were talking to someone like a child of mine, an adult child, you know, and I'm old enough to have an older adult child, and I were giving them advice, I would tell them that the best love is one that's available to you, that's not a fantasy or a dream or afraid or runs away. But the best love is the person that's there every day. Like, when I get up every morning, I like that cup of coffee. And the coffee might not be that exciting because it's a daily thing, but it's warm and it's comforting and it's there every day and it's more reliable than, having a grande latte from Starbucks that you only have once in a blue moon. Yeah, that grande latte might be more of an orgasmic experience. But if you had one every day, it probably wouldn't. It would then become an everyday thing. Someone who fulfills you emotionally and is available for you, and it's not just out of loneliness or trauma bonding or whatever, is, someone who's there for you is really a lot better than chasing a dream that doesn't even exist, or having a brief, intense, erotic relationship that can't be sustained and just leaves you a total mess. I think until you learn to love yourself in a healthy way, I mean, I could have other screwy things going on in my life, but I think that I'm at a point in my life where I have a more healthy self-love and self-respect, and healthier boundaries. Until you love yourself that way, I don't think, you're going to get the type of relationship that's going to be as fulfilling to you as it should be, you know? And I don't really take any joy or comfort in finding out that that person eventually remarried, and it certainly wasn't for love. Uh, and I don't take any comfort in the fact that he probably never had a woman after me that did it for him like I did. That's a little narcissistic, but no, I mean, I don't. I mean, it's funny, in the end, maybe you just get what you need. You don't get what you want, you get what you need. But anyway, anyone that's listening, I'm intending this for one specific person, and I hope that something I said helped you, because I know in my life I've had emotional devastation, and people around me that hardly knew me recognized it, maybe because they had been through it themselves, and tried to help me. And believe it or not, little things that other people said did help me. And I would like to pay it back or pay it forward. But thank God that he or she created you in such a manner that you have the ability to love and be loved, and to want that emotionally and physically. And the best bet is to seek it out in real life, in the real world, not on the internet, because it's just too much of an obstacle to be dealing with distance, family obligations, all kinds of things like that. So everybody, have a great day. Take care. Bye.